Most businesses only focus on growing and expanding, and they give little to no attention to their exit strategies until after exit is staring them in the face. Learn here at Boosting Business Value, brought to you by Blue Sky Business Resources. You'll discover how to shape a more durable and saleable business, and how to implement a powerful, well-planned, and rewarding exit. Join Dr. David Gruder and Jason Tuzinkewich as they deliver actionable tips for lower middle market company owners, executives, and their trusted advisors. Find out where your business currently stands, how you can meet your revenue objectives more reliably, and how to grow your venture to the next level, all with a smooth and fruitful exit in mind. Here are your hosts, Dr. David and Jason.
Hello and welcome back. In keeping with our recent conversations on shifting paradigms in the professional and personal environments, we're really excited to welcome Dr. Michael Time to discuss the entrepreneurial mindset. For those of you who are new to the Boosting Business Value podcast, my name is Jason Tuzinkewich. I'm the Chief Operations Officer of Blue Sky Business Resources. I have my trusty friend and foil, Dr. David Gruder, our business lifecycle, exit planning, and post-acquisition psychologist for Blue Sky. And then, as I mentioned before, we're really excited to welcome Dr. Time to the podcast. Dr. Time is a gentleman I met recently. He's been doing amazing work with people on cultivating an entrepreneurial mindset and integrating that mindset into both their success professionally as well as personal success. Dr. Time, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me. It's great to connect with like minds. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. The irony is that I was never planning to be an entrepreneur. I was never pushed to be an entrepreneur. Everyone around me was an entrepreneur of some kind. And because I had a passion for helping people and I had a passion for science, it made sense for me to become a medical doctor and to embark on that journey. Whenever I did engage in entrepreneurial activities, it was always a hobby. No different than, when you're young and you might play sports or play video games. Entrepreneurship was my version of video games in addition to playing video games. For example, in middle school, I had a bubblegum business just for fun. Sold bubblegum in 7th and 8th grade. That was a very educational experience for me. I learned a lot, had a good time. When I got to Brown University as an undergrad, I became close friends with one of the most esteemed professors in Brown's history, Professor Barrett Hazeltine, who had a tremendous impact on me personally, professionally, in so many ways. And I took his entrepreneurship classes. I spent time with him, as much time out of the classroom as in the classroom, learned so much from him. And he's been an inspiration for 25 years now. And then as I navigated through the medical world, I always went back to entrepreneurship as a labor of love, as something I'm passionate about, as something to share with other people, to give them the opportunity to experience the journey of an entrepreneur. I started a nonprofit foundation, a 501c3, over 10 years ago. It was incubated out of Brown University with the support and inspiration of Professor Hazeltine. Once I gave birth to it, I got it to a certain point, handed it off to a trusted partner. In 2020, I was working in the pharmaceutical industry as a medical doctor, subject matter expert, helping with various aspects of medical education, messaging, marketing, different things that may require medical expertise in communicating certain aspects of various drugs and treatments. It was rewarding, but I wasn't fulfilled doing it. I was comfortable. I had great upward mobility as a career. I was using my education. It checked off all the boxes, but there was this gut feeling that I'm supposed to be doing something else with my life. I finally got the courage and inspiration to walk away from my medical career in the pharmaceutical industry and commit my life to the nonprofit that I had started over 10 years ago. I decided to make it my life mission, and one thing led to the next, and here we are today.
Great story about your origins. And you have, I think, a somewhat different perspective on entrepreneurship. Part of your purpose is, among other things, is to help redefine what entrepreneurship is. Is that right?
Yes, that's been part of the evolution. When I started teaching traditional entrepreneurship, the goal was to empower people to declare their own 4th of July, this declaration of freedom and autonomy, and I'm the master of my destiny, and so on and so forth. And I noticed that the journey of an entrepreneur is so challenging and oftentimes underestimated how hard it really is. I would, off the top of my head, I don't know of one entrepreneur that would say, oh, I knew exactly what I was signing up for. All the entrepreneurs that I've met in my lifetime, every single one of them, not to say there isn't someone that maybe had a different experience, but I don't know anyone that went into it and completely had no idea what they were signing up for. One adventure leads to another, leads to another. It keeps growing and growing and growing. And then looking back, you're like, wow, I didn't sign up for this exactly. It's a beautiful ride, but it's different than what all of us entrepreneurs envision when we started. Knowing how hard it was, I had to first prepare people for that journey. And it wouldn't be responsible of me to throw people into the life of an entrepreneur without the tools. It's the analogy I like to use is that if you decide to do someone a favor and help them get drafted into the NFL tomorrow, I'm not sure that's much of a favor because you have to be prepared to play in the NFL. And entrepreneurship for me is very similar. It takes a lot. I had to prepare people for this so-called entrepreneurship world of that's similar to professional sports. I had to step back and first give people the mindset of an entrepreneur, define it. What is this entrepreneur mindset? When you think about it, what are the traits, the qualities you need to be an entrepreneur? You need to be dynamic, creative, resourceful. You need to be a problem solver, a critical thinker. You need perseverance. You need courage. There's risk taking. There's all these things that go into it that you don't think about. You may do it intuitively, but when you think about everything you need to be successful as an entrepreneur and to have this mindset, you realize, wait a second, these are all the same things I need to succeed in life. When you prepare to be an entrepreneur and gain this entrepreneur mindset, you're gaining these transferable life skills that can apply to so many other areas of life. I went from teaching traditional entrepreneurship to teaching the mindset of an entrepreneur to teaching life and the transferable life skills that go with it through the lens of entrepreneurship. And that has led me to redefine entrepreneurship. It's no longer about starting a business. It's about thinking like an entrepreneur and acting like an entrepreneur and applying that approach, that mindset to different aspects of life, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a social worker, an athlete, a stay-at-home parent, whatever you do in life, if you embrace this entrepreneur mindset, you will be better at that.
Well, that's really great. My framing for that in training entrepreneurs myself, and I'm going to share this really briefly because I'd like your impression about it, is that the top 3 most demanding personal development paths that exist are primary relationship, parenting, and entrepreneurship. That entrepreneurship grows us. It's a powerful self-development path. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and maybe along the way I'll grow. No, it is a growth path around which we get to build a business.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. When I speak to groups, I tell them from the beginning, let's say I'm speaking to a group of 1,000 people, and I'll tell them, all of you can start a business today and all of you fail. I will still say to each and every one of you, congratulations. What you have gained in that process, personally, professionally, the mindset, the resilience, the courage, the creativity, the innovation, everything that you think was a waste. Oh, my business didn't succeed. I had to close my business. No, those are skills you'll take with you to other aspects of your life. And I think a lot of people miss that. They see it as black or white. Entrepreneurship means starting a business. Success means your business grows and thrives. That's it. And that's part of my redefining of entrepreneurship. It's the journey. It's not the outcome. And when you look at it from that perspective, you're setting up the game to win no matter what.
We're very aligned on that. And I know you're aligned on that too, Jason.
Yeah, I love what I'm hearing. And this type of mindset and this conversation is very similar to the introductory conversation that I had with Dr. Time, which is why I was so eager to bring him onto our podcast. Doctor, I guess doctors now, we've talked in past episodes about this concept of learned helplessness and needing to overcome that in order to be in control of your destiny and your team and your environment. And it sounds like a lot of the same thing. I love that comment that you made at the beginning with this creating your own declaration of independence. And I just think that's super powerful. And then the thing that we haven't touched into yet, with your organization Time Talks, you take this mindset and this mentality to a really broad swath of demographics and help them catalyze their own personal growth through these Time Talks. So tell us a little bit about your experience and your work with these different groups.
There's really two broad categories. One is the philanthropy and the humanitarian work. Most organizations and nonprofits that have a social mission, they usually pick a lane, rightfully so, because each lane, let's say your lane is veterans or youth or minorities or immigrants or any of these groups, the need is infinite. You can serve the veteran community infinitely and the addiction community and returning citizens, people, that are coming out of incarceration. But we decided early on that we would try our best to be the personification of the American Constitution and say no to no one. Instead of saying, okay, we're going to help these veterans, but then if there's an addiction group, maybe we can't help that. We didn't want to make those type of decisions. In the past few years, I've had the privilege of working with nonprofits and government agencies to serve youth, adults, minorities, addiction centers, jails, veterans, immigrant groups, women's groups, whoever needs an extra helping hand in life, we're here to serve them. So that's the philanthropy and the humanitarian aspect of what I do. And that was my inspiration for leaving my medical pharmaceutical career, was to contribute to society. And then when I pivoted from traditional entrepreneurship to this entrepreneur mindset, I noticed that the people that I was teaching this mindset to, they were benefiting in so many ways unrelated to their entrepreneurial journey. They were becoming better employees at work, better parents, better athletes, better at everything, better chefs, better, you name it. And then I was like, well, wait a second. They're gaining as much, if not more, outside of the traditional entrepreneurship ecosystem than they are gaining within traditional entrepreneurship. Then the work expanded to partnering with organizations to help their employees or members of their organization think like entrepreneurs. The most impactful people in any organization, any environment, any ecosystem are the ones who have that entrepreneurial mindset. So whether you work at a Fortune 500 company, whether you work at a restaurant, whether you work at a hospital, whatever you do, when you have this mindset, you become more impactful, more effective at it. Then that's the second aspect of our business, is helping corporations, Fortune 500 companies, government agencies, even some of the larger nonprofits that have quite a number of employees, helping them with employee engagement, employee culture, retention, inspiration, cult, things of that nature. So those are the two aspects of the business. Either we're helping corporations and organizations grow and nurture their talent. We're serving the community through the various humanitarian initiatives.
I love it. That's absolutely brilliant.
And I wish I could tell you that I had this planned out from the beginning. I didn't. It was one pivot led to another, led to another, led to another. I never thought in a million years that I'd be working with these large companies and helping them essentially change their workforce, right? Change the thinking, the psychology, the culture, being a change agent for these large organizations. I never thought in a million years I'd be doing that. But it was the entrepreneurial journey that I went through trying to bring entrepreneurship to these underserved groups that led me to have this epiphany. And that epiphany allowed us to broaden the scope of our impact and work. And also the work we do for these large organizations in terms of the employee initiatives, using that to help fund the nonprofit work.
I refer to that as the Indiana Jones School of Entrepreneurship, referring back to the original Indiana Jones movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. And there's this scene where all hell has broken loose and all of Indiana Jones's pals are huddled around him. And he's in the middle of this circle of them and they're panicked out of their minds. And they're screaming at him, Indy, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And he finally blurts out in mock anger and says, how should I know? I'm making it up as I go.
Yes, exactly. That's the entrepreneurial mindset.
Exactly.
It's that adaptability, that agility, that resilience to be in an environment like that for sustained periods. That's part of the mindset. And that's part of the magic. When you teach people that, I've seen things that that to this day, I look back, I'm like, wow, I'm surprised that we achieved those outcomes.
Yeah. And always having one eye on the environment, right? It's one thing to be laser focused on the success of what you're trying to achieve, but having that awareness to say, hey, you know what? This isn't getting us where we want to be, but I'm getting this positive result over here. Let's pursue that a little bit more too.
And I interject a question here. One of my sound bites is that entrepreneurs build businesses at the level of their self-development limitations despite their highest intentions. What are some of the most common self-development limitations that you've encountered with the entrepreneurs that you've worked with?
I would say confidence is part of it, them believing in themselves. That's one challenge. The other is dealing with adversity. That's another challenge. And optimism, seeing things. This is one of the things that I teach in my talks as well as the trainings is life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. And it takes tremendous faith and imagination to truly believe and feel that, not think it. It's not an academic exercise, but to really feel and believe that this thing that's happening, to figure out why it's happening to your benefit. Why should you be grateful for this thing that on the surface looks negative? That's one of the paradigm shifts that I try to teach people, is to see that opportunity as a quote comes to mind. Every seed of adversity, of struggle, of challenge, of difficulty carries with it an equal or greater seed of opportunity. I'm paraphrasing the quote, but essentially, if you have 10 units of adversity, of challenge, then you have at least 10 or greater units of benefit hidden within that. But it takes creativity and faith, imagination, resilience, persistence to extract the nutrients from that experience. So now I'm putting on my doctor hat to get the vitamin C and the vitamins and from that supposedly bad experience. And we all have this in life. We look back on some of the worst times in our life. We think some of those experiences we can look back on and say, I'm grateful that happened because that led to this, which led to this, which led to this. But at that moment, you don't see it. You don't feel it. No one can convince you of it. It's just pure bad. So these are some of the thought processes that I have to change whenever I either do a one-time speaking engagement or a series.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I mean, I have an acronym, AFGO, which stands, I'll give you the sanitized version for this show. AFGO stands for another friggin' growth opportunity. Okay. And it speaks to the heart of the issue of resilience, and more than just resilience. What you're really speaking to is a skill set that entrepreneurs do need to develop. And it is, as you say, completely transferable to all parts of our lives, which I refer to as harvesting, which is gathering gifts of great value from undesired and even unacceptable life experiences.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful way of summarizing it. That's spot on.
One of the things that I like about these mindset exercises and this mindset work is that these can become habits. Some of my circles of friends, I get teased for being a silver linings guy, because the first thing, whenever anything really bad is happening, my first instinct by training is, where's the silver lining? What's the good that can be found in this? And then the second thing is to ask, what have I learned? This mindset work that you're talking about is really powerful because as you work on it, it grows stronger and becomes a part of your character.
Absolutely. No, it becomes habit. I give you examples. I was doing something for a Marriott hotel. And after one of my talks, I was getting ready to leave the lobby doors to my left. And two of the employees that were just in my talk were on the right. I went up to them and thanked them for being great students, being engaged, participating, doing their homework. They were just like great students. So I was just thanking them for that level of dedication and how that makes it more rewarding for everyone that's participating in those talks. And they said something to me that I'll never forget. They said, Dr. Time, the inspiration, the hope, the wisdom, everything you give us to do better here at Marriott, we actually take it home and use it even more in our personal lives, which is why we're happier here. And at that moment, I had an epiphany because in my mind, whenever I'm serving the people, I'm used to doing it through a nonprofit, a government agency, a church, something like that. And in my mind, I guess I was a little distracted because they're part of the Marriott and they have $1 billion logo on their chest. Doesn't mean they're not the people. Even though I was there for the purposes of helping that Marriott hotel do better, without even trying, I was giving them tools and resources that they were taking home and using even more at home. And the side effect was they're better at work, happier, more productive, more engaged, and all these metrics changed. I'm constantly coming across these stories and situations where people are benefiting in ways that I never thought they would. Eventually start tracking all of this. I mean, it's really so many stories and case studies. Just sharing it with you guys, it would be great one day to sit down and to really analyze it and figure out how to package it in ways to multiply.
Yeah, that's really crucial. I think you're bringing up a very important point because inspiration and motivation and mindset are necessary conditions for successful entrepreneurship, but not sufficient conditions for entrepreneurial success. And so what you're alluding to is that you're not stopping at mindset or inspiration or motivation. You're really moving beyond that into skill sets that the people that you're impacting are reporting back to you that they're taking into all parts of their lives, including at home, and those skills are helping them throughout every part of their lives.
Absolutely. When I do a series of speaking engagements and talks, I spread out the course. So we have an entrepreneurship course that's all about the entrepreneur mindset, but it weaves in traditional entrepreneurial principles such as lean methodology and design thinking and minimum viable product and pivot and all these exciting things that you learn when you take an entrepreneurship class or read an entrepreneurship book, but we've made it applicable to life and to people's jobs. The goal is no longer about starting a business. People can still take that inspiration, the soft skills and the hard skills, and apply it to traditional entrepreneurship and start a business. But my first goal is just to empower them with those tools and let them do what they're inspired to do with those.
For our listeners and viewers who want to learn more about what you're doing and your nonprofit and things like that, where can they find out more about you?
Timetalks.org, timetalks.org, timetalks.org.
Marvelous.
Thank you for having me. This has been a great experience. And I love the work that you're doing, which is bringing this to more people, to more audiences. There aren't enough of us to do this great mission of promoting entrepreneurial thinking and mindset, psychology, and tools that can be used in so many areas of life.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, sure. And before I sign us off, I want to make sure that each of us has an opportunity to briefly say what the takeaways are that we would like our viewers and listeners to walk away with from this episode. Dr. Time, would you like to start with what you think are the most important takeaways? And then we'll turn it over to you, Jason.
Yeah, I think one takeaway is for viewers to redefine entrepreneurship. It's no longer about starting a business. It's about a way of thinking. And then the next takeaway is take that way of thinking, that mindset, and apply it to other areas of life. Allow it to make you a better parent, a better employee, anything. Those are the takeaways that I would like to emphasize.
Thank you. How about you, Jason?
The thing that really strikes me is bringing this all together with the general underlying themes of our podcast. When we talk to business owners about preparing to exit their business, one of the things we teach them is to shift from thinking of their business as an operation to thinking of their business as an investment. And what you're teaching people to do is to think of themselves as a business and treat that business as you would a good investment. And so I really love the way that you're bringing this whole thing together into a very personally focused mindset to help people be empowered, like you said, declare independence from the social shackles that have restrained them and be empowered to grow their business of themselves and invest in that capital that they have as individuals.
Absolutely. I mean, you reminded me, we didn't so much to go through, but you just reminded me of what I share in my talks, which is be the CEO of your life, be the CEO of your job, be the CEO of your family. You take that mindset and you apply it to these other areas and you start thinking and acting differently.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
You have any other closing thoughts, Jason, before I share my takeaway and then close us out?
No, I've just got to say, super grateful for you being on the episode with us, Dr. Time. Great to get to know you. I love what you're doing and hope that our listeners will be reaching out to you. We will have his contact information in the footnotes and in the transcript on our website. Okay, take it away, Doc.
The big takeaway for me that I just want to reinforce, and both of you have said it as well in your own ways, is to not think of entrepreneurship as entrepreneurship, but think of entrepreneurship as a development path, because being an entrepreneur develops you as you develop your business. And with that, on behalf of Dr. Time and my wonderful co-host, Jason Tuzinkewich, and myself, we thank you for listening to this episode, and we invite you to click the subscribe button. You can be notified immediately when we release future episodes. We also look forward to reading your thoughts, questions, topic suggestions, and other requests in the comments section at the bottom of each episode's page, because it's your requests that are the most interesting to us to formulate episodes around. All of the episode pages are available through blueskyadvisors.net/podcast. And lastly, we want to invite you to take advantage of Blue Sky Business Resources' free surveys for gauging your business health more accurately than you might otherwise know how to do. And don't be fooled by the fact that they're free, because the value of those assessments, those surveys, is priceless, really. Each includes real-time feedback and recommendations. To access those, just visit blueskyadvisors.net and get started.
That's all for this episode of Boosting Business Value. May your new learning result in the smoothest and most profitable exit strategy for your business. With the right knowledge and guidance, the sky's the limit to what you can do. Do not miss an episode by subscribing to the show. And if you want to learn where your business currently stands, we also have free key opportunity assessments. Find all of them at blueskyadvisors.net/podcast. Thank you for joining us. See you on the next one.